Sometimes, the best stories in golf aren't found on tour. You'll find them at the back of the range. And here's your host, Ben Adelberg.
Welcome to the Back of the Range. I am your host, Ben Adelberg. This is episode 101. Thanks again to everyone that reached out with congratulatory messages as the podcast passed the 100 episode mark last week. Couldn't have asked for a better 100th guest in Spider Miller. If you have not listened to that episode yet, please do. Really good stuff from the two-time U.S. Mid-Amateur champion and Walker Cup captain. It's not going to be the last time you hear from Spider on this podcast. I should be bringing you all something very special before the end of the year, so stay tuned for that. Lots of mojo going on at the collegiate level this week. Congrats to Texas and Oklahoma State for making it to the finals of the East Lake Cup. I hope that everyone enjoyed watching the coverage on Golf Channel and that everyone is getting excited about the NCAAs in the spring. Texas took the win, so shout out to Cole Hammer, the Cootie twins, Travis Vick, and Spencer Sussman. If you're a Cowboy fan, I don't think you have to worry about too much. You'll see Austin Eckroat and the rest of the Cowboys in the postseason. Little housekeeping as usual. Please continue to leave reviews in Apple Podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you that has done that already. Make sure you take a screenshot of that and post it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. You know I'll hook you up with a golf towel or something. I really appreciate everyone's efforts in promoting the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. Remember, if you have ideas on who you would like to see featured in future episodes, shoot me an email at ben@thebackoftherange.com and hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All of that information is available in the show notes of this episode or go to thebackoftherange.com. So on to this week's guest, Sahith Theegala from Pepperdine University. Pepperdine might not get as much publicity as some of the other traditional college golf powerhouses like Texas and Oklahoma State, but as of right now, they're ranked number 8 in the GolfStat national rankings, so don't be surprised if they make some noise in the spring. They've acquired Joey Verzich, a transfer from Nevada. They have freshman William Mao, the reigning California Amateur Champion, Joshua McCarthy, the reigning Northern California Amateur Champion, but their senior leader is Theegala. And by the way, he's the reigning Southern California Amateur Champion. Sahith sat an entire year due to a wrist injury, but came back to Pepperdine for one last season to make a run at the national championship. And why wouldn't he? Pepperdine is in Malibu, California, and apparently you can see the Pacific Ocean from just about everywhere on campus. We had a good chat about his approach to golf and life, the importance of family, and he even explained how to hit one of his signature shots. You definitely want to hang around till the end of the episode to listen to that. I hope that everyone enjoys this episode as much as I enjoyed getting some time with Sahith. Remember his name. You're going to see a lot of him down the road. And by the way, if you want to learn more about Pepperdine Athletics as a whole, their athletics department has a podcast. Very cool way to get to know all of the student athletes like Sahith Theegala. It's called Pepp Talk. It's hosted by Roger Horn, the Assistant AD of Communications at Pepperdine. So I'll put the link to the podcast in the show notes for all of you Pepperdine fans. So let's get to this week's episode. Sahith, welcome to the Back of the Range, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks a lot for having me. This is going to be good.
The name of this podcast is The Back of the Range, and you're a senior at Pepperdine. What does the Back of the Range look like at Pepperdine University, your practice facility? Is it the Pacific Ocean?
Yeah, it literally faces the ocean. Doesn't get much better than that. We just got it. I think we just got new sod. I haven't been down there in a little while, but we just got it redone. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. Right into the ocean. Can't ask for much more.
I mean, the recruiting trip to get you to go to Pepperdine, was it? I mean, what did they do?
Yeah.
Just like look west. I mean, is that pretty much all they did? I mean, what else did you have to see?
6 different times during the trip, they're just like, oh, look that way. Look, it's the ocean. No, but I mean, yeah, it's a pretty special place. Can't say enough about it. Doesn't really get old either.
What, you've spent your entire college career there. It's wrapping up. I know you're a fifth-year senior. You had a redshirt due to an injury. What is, when you're not traveling, when you're on campus, hitting the books, practicing, what is a typical day at Pepperdine look like, or a typical week?
Yeah. Obviously it's pretty hard to, I'm pretty sure any college athlete can say this, just managing time. Obviously we have workouts 3 times a week in the morning, 6:30 a.m. And then we usually have class from 8 to noon on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Wednesdays, I had class Wednesdays nights most of the time, but a lot of the guys have Wednesday off. So that's kind of the day where we just kind of kick back and relax or catch up on work, either way. And then practice from noon or like 1 to 6 or 1 to 5:15, I guess, but we always end up staying a little bit longer anyway. Then come back and do work and repeat next day.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll kind of get into the redshirt senior aspect of our conversation about your wrist injury, but do the guys on the team, you got some transfers, you got some freshmen, are you getting everything out of being a senior as possible? I mean, you're not washing the van. You're not doing any of that stuff. You don't pick up a bag, do you?
No, I do not. They've done a good job of keeping me away from the bags. But I think obviously last year helped me from a perspective standpoint, just being away from golf for so long. And I've just loved it even more this year. So it's like being with the guys, even though some of the freshmen are, 3 years younger than me. It's still been awesome. I mean, I love it every day, even more. And I'm still 21. I pretty much went to college a year. I was really young for my grade.
Okay.
So I'm not turning 22 till December. So in terms of like the age difference, I mean, there's people that were actually in my graduating class that were over a year older than me anyway. So it kind of doesn't feel too off, really, which is a good thing, I guess.
Nice. Well, I mean, you're talking about this year that you had to take off. You had this wrist injury. A few weeks ago, I spoke with Cooper Dawsey, who's a senior at Baylor.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know the exact medical similarities between your wrist injuries, but similar time off. And, he was saying how, man, I had hit so many golf balls off of golf tees and before I could do anything. And, wedges, I mean, everything is off of a very safe environment. Was that kind of the similar path that you had to take getting back from a wrist injury? Because it's such an annoying injury for a golfer. Because,
yes,
if you're a football player and you jack up your knee, or you're any athlete, and people see you okay, that guy's hobbling, that guy's hurt. But but having a wrist injury, I mean, how?
Yeah.
But it's serious. But it's got to be so frustrating.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, it's pretty lame. Like you're just, I mean, it took so long to recover from it, but like from the outside, like I had my cast off in like 2 months. So like everyone's like, "Oh, you're playing, right? Like, how are you doing?" I'm like, "No, I still got a very long way to go."
Yeah, I can't grip a pencil, but I look fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I've actually talked to Cooper we've seen each other a few times this summer, and obviously through the college circuit, and our injuries were really similar. And I think the recovery process was similar too. Obviously he didn't take the whole year off, or he didn't redshirt the year. He just kind of missed some tournaments, I think, over winter and starting in the spring. But yeah, it was very similar. It was a very conservative approach. Just a lot of putting. I probably putted for like 2 months straight, just putted. Because even chipping, just with my motion, I feel like I'm probably a little bit riskier than others. So like I stayed away from chipping for a while too. But yeah, it was very annoying because I couldn't. Not only could I not play golf, but I couldn't go like shoot basketballs or.
Well, you can't do the normal everyday. Yeah, you can't do normal everyday stuff like, hey, pick up that box. I can't.
Sure.
Can't do that. All right. So let me ask you, because you got a lot of downtime, what was a guilty pleasure you had during that rehab year that you like whether it's watching some stupid show on Netflix or like doing some habit that you picked up that now that you're full strength, you're like, all right, I can't do that crap anymore. I get back to work.
Yeah. For one, I would literally have days where I do not leave my room. I'll Postmates food in to my house and not leave my room.
Okay.
I definitely gained some weight.
Okay. So you became a shut-in. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was pretty much a hermit.
Nice.
I don't know. I really didn't pick up many bad tendencies because again, like the video games I like to play, like I still needed my left wrist to like at least grip a controller or, put my hand on my keyboard. And I don't know, I was kind of staying away from that just to rest as much as possible, I guess. And, I did play a lot of chess.
Okay. All right. Keeping the mind sharp. All right. So
yeah, keep the mind sharp. Sure.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Me and another guy on the team, the other guy is really good. He kind of got me into it. So we played a lot when I was doing nothing.
So I kind of want to go back and hit on a couple things about your start in the game. Incredible junior career, started out super early winning, Callaway Junior World Championships. And then, the one thing that I thought was interesting is, you've been with the same coach basically your entire life. Rick Hunter, you've been with him since what, like 7, 8 years old?
Yeah.
I'm curious, he's with you when you're super young, trying to figure out the fundamentals. Then he's with you in like, being 13, 14, where you're like learning how to actually hit some fun shots and do different things. So can you maybe talk to like the importance of having fun, being creative, but how he maybe kind of reins you in at least a little bit so you can be a elite amateur?
Yeah, sure. Obviously it's great having him from a young age because he understands my golf swing pretty much better than anyone else, better than me. So he's seen all my tendencies throughout the years, like little quirks in my body. So one thing I really love about Rick, he's not trying to change my swing, but just trying to get the best version of my swing. And he's actually the one that, really encouraged me to start shaping my shots, especially on the range. Obviously it's easy to, just aim at a target and blindly hit a target, right? But he's the one that kind of got me hitting the big slices and the big hooks on the range, just to see something different with my eyes and, get some potentially on course kind of, seeing what you would see on the golf course if you're hitting it behind a tree or something like that. So, especially when I got to that age, 13, 14, where, I'm looking at these guys' swings and they're starting to refine them, just being super technical and,
right,
beautiful looking swings. And I got this weird little move that I do. The whole swing is just kind of a little weird, but,
okay.
The positions, we just make sure the positions match up. Obviously we worked really hard on my setup, but after that, he's does a great job of, keeping my swing in check without really messing with it too much. And that's what I've been so thankful for. And we're still making progress every time I see him.
The interesting thing is I know it's a kind of a cliche statement that a lot of, elite amateurs, professionals, playing your game, playing we're all guilty of saying that. Well, I played my game. We're all guilty of that. But you really, like you said, you have a unique swing, you have a unique move. When did maybe you first start realizing that, okay, this is me? I'm not, when people are walking down a range at an elite amateur or collegiate event, they're going to see guys that maybe all look alike. And then they'll be like, all right, who's that? What's with Theegala's action? When did you start kind of saying, yeah, this is me, I own this? Yeah.
It was probably just before I committed to Pepperdine. I wasn't playing great, I don't think, in, sophomore year of high school. And that's when me and Rick we didn't try and really change it, but we tried some things that were perhaps a little more conventional and it didn't work out. So that's when I really kind of got into my own and committed to Pepperdine. And just even when I came here my freshman year, obviously the guys on the team, like they recognized that my swing's obviously kind of weird, but they loved it too. So that kind of just became a part of me. And I even to this day, I have no shame in saying that my swing doesn't look pretty, but it kind of gets the job done. But I'm all for it. I love that. And I'll hit bad shots on purpose just to accentuate that.
Okay. Well, you're leading me towards something that we are going to hit on. So, you're setting me up early for it, but I'm going to resist the urge to pounce on this topic. But so let's go back to, all right. So let's talk about one thing that a lot of people that listen to this podcast, a lot of amateurs, whether they're trying to, qualify for a state am or their club championship, is qualifiers. It is such a different animal than just a regular round of golf. You have qualified for numerous USGA events, whether it's 3 U.S. Juniors, USAM. You've played in the 2017 U.S. Open at Erin Hills. There are great college players and great amateurs all over the country. Some are great in qualifiers. Others, they just aren't, and you don't see them at a USAM. So you have checked every box along your amateur way. Are you able to pinpoint any specific reason why you are having success in these qualifiers over maybe some other guys that have, on paper have similar resumes?
Yeah. I've actually thought about that, just like I mean, every year there's a couple guys that are just outside, the top 50 in WAG or whatever, and they're doing a USAM call and don't make it. And it's like, oh my God, I mean, this guy's way too good to not be playing this, and it's definitely because the qualifiers are a different animal. I don't know if I can pinpoint anything specific really, but I mean, I get fired up for qualifiers because I know that it literally does not matter what you shoot if you're not going to qualify. So you're either in or you're, it doesn't matter. Like,
right.
Not trying to save shots to miss the qualifier by 2, I mean, sure, that feels better for yourself, but in the long run, it doesn't matter. And just having that mindset, even if I guess something I could pinpoint is if I'm like not in the groove early on in the qualifying round, I actually just go ahead and try and fire a little bit harder and try and make birdies because again, there's no real repercussions to shooting a poor round. You're literally trying to hit that benchmark. And a lot of the qualifiers that I've played in, I've actually ended up winning, which is, I mean, obviously a bonus more than qualifying, but just having that mindset of not slowing down really, I think is what's kind of carried me in some of these qualifiers.
It sounds incredibly simple, but with a lot of the
right.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is,
well,
you got to execute. But I'm saying the mindset you're stating sounds so simple, but it's so different than what I've heard or what you've seen. Do you have any idea who might have helped you put that in your head, or is this just something you said, hey, 74 and 84 are the same?
Yeah, if you're not qualifying, that definitely goes back to my dad. I mean, he's told me that the whole time growing up, and especially with qualifiers. Obviously, in a regular tournament, 84 is better than 85. 84 is better than 85. It's significantly better than 85 in my mind. Like that means you're not giving up for that. You're not giving up that extra shot. Whereas in qualifying, it's it really doesn't matter in the long run.
Yeah. I know you just talked about your dad. I know family is super important. I know choosing Pepperdine, one of the big reasons was the fact that you are close to home. You are the defending Southern California amateur champion. You won this past summer in July. A lot of great pictures. By the way, that trophy is where, I mean, did that just re-aggravate a wrist injury holding that behemoth of a thing?
It did. Actually, I had to ask for some help. Couldn't lift that thing myself.
Where do you keep that, and do you bolt it on the hood of a car? What do you do with that thing?
Oh no, that was just the one where they like etch your name into that one. I got
you don't have to take
another
that for,
trophy that was small.
Yeah, you don't have to take that thing for a year, do you?
No.
No. Okay. So there's great pictures of that event, but one of the coolest pictures is you and all your family and friends, like at least 30, 40. What's your earliest memory of playing in front of galleries? Not just family and friends, but when did that kind of start? Because I know you've had family support at, like, I know they're out for the USAM at Riviera. So talk to me a little bit about how you got comfortable playing in front of galleries.
I can't like think of a specific time where I got like comfortable, but I enjoy playing in front of people. I feel like I've always enjoyed playing in front of people. I'm not sure quite why, but especially obviously, like you said, especially starting in college, my family realized like I love the sport and I'm giving it my all and I'm very passionate about it. So they saw that and they're like, wow, that's really cool that he's doing that. Let's go out and support him. That's kind of, I think that's more of a Indian culture mentality too. We're always sticking together no matter what we're doing.
Okay.
Even though it's, golf is not necessarily, connected with India. That's not really the first sport you think of when you think of India. So
not yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. Exactly. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I like to put on a show, but I do like to put on a show. So
okay.
I guess that's kind of where I don't know. I've never really felt nervous about it. I know there's, especially in junior golf, some kids, really didn't want their parents to come out and watch sometimes.
Right.
I never really understood that. Like I loved it when my dad came and watched me. It was like, okay, I got my number one supporter here, like cheering me on. Like, how can it get any better than this? So I guess that's the kind of mentality I took, even when other people are, going out of their way to watch me play golf.
Sounds like you had sounds like a very healthy and positive junior golf experience then.
Oh yeah, it was awesome because my mom was super supportive all the way too, which I'm very thankful for because she didn't really know anything about sports or golf and what it took to get to the next level, but she was able to provide me. She was take me to practice, and another great thing is when I go home, we don't really talk about golf, which has been something that I've actually found really helpful for me too.
Yeah. So Interesting. So let's have a little bit of fun with the family, though. I know these are all positives, but there's got to be a family member that maybe gets a little too excited out there and loses the awareness of their surroundings, not realizing that we're okay. Who are we going to throw under the bus? Let's go. Who we got?
Let's see who I can throw under the bus. I'd have to say one of my uncles lives in Moore Park. He's awesome. Like, I love him.
Oh yeah.
But he's just loud. Like, he obviously cares about the other competitors, but he's in the moment cheering me on and he's yelling, and I have a feeling that one or two times it's disrupted a competitor.
Is the show really you, or is it your gallery? Like, if I'm coming out to watch you at a collegiate event, it's not you, is it? It's your gallery.
No, not at all. It's my family and friends for sure.
Okay, 100%. Perfect. All right,
I love that.
All right, I want to make sure I know who to follow when I come out and see. Well, I'm not going to see you play. I'm going to follow them. All right, perfect.
Exactly.
All right, so awesome. So this is good. So. Interesting. You have no fear of playing in front of friends and family and galleries, and you like qualifiers.
Yeah.
If only there was some sort of profession you could enter after your collegiate career was done, that you could use that to good use. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Wonder what that might be.
I don't know, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But let me ask you about this qualifier, which is probably one of the most unique, the Collegiate Showcase at the Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
So for people that don't know about this, which, if you see an amateur playing at a PGA Tour event, normally it's a sponsor's exemption, or they actually win a collegiate event or an invitational, think Jones Cup for the RSM, or you're thinking, I think there's a collegiate player that gets into like the Heritage. So that's pretty much the norm. This is some sort of Monday qualifier / pro-am / someone's backing you. Can you, talk about this, explain this to the listeners, and when you first heard about this, because this is one of the most unique things I've seen.
Well, funny enough, I didn't hear about it till maybe 2 months before I actually played in it.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a Monday qualifier, but just for college players. It's for, I think pretty much anybody can get in. The criteria is the school has to put in $25,000 to have a foursome that plays in the college am. And I forget how many college players were actually there, or how many groups were there. It might have been, I think 10 maybe this year.
That sounds about
right. I know
right.
1 year was 16, 1 year was 8. It might have been 10 the year I played it. So basically one of our donors stepped up and say, hey man, I'd love to, see you get this opportunity and try and qualify in this event. So we put in $25K. We had a foursome. The guy who was the donor, Paul Porteous, really great guy, by the way. But he pitched in for two other guys too, to play the foursome. And I ended up winning that collegiate showcase against the 9 other competitors. And then we also won as a foursome, which in turn we won $50,000 for the program by that. So essentially he put in $25K for the program. I ended up getting $50K back. So that was a big bonus. That was nice that those both kind of went together there.
Didn't you? So it was the two amateurs, and then wasn't there?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Professional.
The pro. Yeah. Jeff, we played with Jeff Gove. So Pepperdine alum. Yeah. Jeff Gove. He was awesome. He made like a 60-footer for E on the first hole. That was a good way to get it started.
So by your play, you were able to acquire and assist the Pepperdine program with $50,000. So let's put you on the spot. What are we naming after you in the Pepperdine facilities? What is it going to be? The Sahith Theegala chess room, or is it?
The chess room. Yeah, let me make sure that's an addition moving forward here.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think they want my name on anything here.
Oh, come on. You're racking up records there, and I guess you know that your scoring average is leading in school history. You just picked up a victory at the Alistair McKenzie Invitational, an individual win as well as the team win. You guys are top 10 in the nation, so you're heading into a very exciting spring. Let me throw this one out at you. You've had this sampling of professional career. You played in the U.S. Open. You played in the in this PGA Tour event, but it's just 2 weeks. So, and you're going in just trying to,
2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks. eyes are probably wide open. You're trying to absorb as much as you can, but what did you maybe see that kind of leans you towards like, okay, this is going to be a job. Like, this is not just me going out and playing.
Yeah.
Like, what were some of the things you learned that you're like, tuck that away for when you do turn pro? Like, okay, this is not just about the golf.
I mean, I definitely got a sense of a little bit this at Riv, my first one, but even watching guys like Colin and Matt Wolf right now just tear it up, like, definitely in terms of skill level, for pro golf, like we're not that far off. It's just, they do it on a more consistent basis. Obviously they are better. But I just realized playing even in the US Open, like you can compete. You can really compete. It's not like a total dream, cause we're already so close being, high level college athletes. So that was one thing I definitely took away from that. And then, I guess for the non-golf thing, I mean, it's just, I find it hard to see myself. I mean, obviously I have other interests. I was a sports admin major at Pepperdine, and I would love to go into something like that, but still I find it hard to see myself doing something other than playing professional golf. And that's something else I got out of those 2 weeks, and it just kind of made me want it more.
Okay.
It really wanted me to not only play for myself, but, play for my family, pretty much play for my culture too.
Very cool.
So like those are a couple things that I definitely got out of playing those weeks.
That was a question I was going to ask you, you're being, Indian, the Indian culture, like, is that super important to you? And let me rephrase. Not that is it important to you, but is it important for you to put that on the map on the pro ranks?
For sure. I think it's important. Obviously I was born in the US and, spent a majority of my time here.
Right.
But I still, I have both Indian and American heritage. So I want to make that clear that I am playing for, the Indian culture.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's interesting about Morikawa and Hovland and Wolf, these young guys coming on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
For those guys, it looks like they just pop on, rack up a few wins or high finishes and off to the races. But as well as I do that there are just dozens and dozens of these guys, just, D1 studs at all these schools that they're not going to have the easy path. And it takes is, and I mean, do you think about that? Like, okay, that's what everyone sees on TV, the Cameron Champs and all that. But know as well as I do that just the path it's hard as hell.
Oh yeah. Those guys are, it takes a special guy and a special talent to do that, and a little bit of luck too.
Of course it does.
Obviously those guys earned it. Every one of those guys earned exactly where they are today.
Yeah.
But there's absolute studs out there, number one guys in college that are, still trying to get on the web or trying to get status here and there. And that again, like I know how hard it is, and that just makes me want it more. Sounds cliche, but.
Well, I want to get you out of here. I know you got, it's a Friday, it's Friday at noon in Malibu, California.
Sure, Pepperdine, gotta get to the beach, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why you agreed to this for me to keep you indoors on a Friday afternoon.
No, that's great.
But let me ask you this one. I've spoken to a lot of great, amazing people on this podcast. We just passed over 100 episodes recently.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic amateurs, professionals. I spoke with Jim Holtgreave, who won the very first U.S. Mid-Amateur in 81. He was a long iron assassin. He carried a 1 iron, and he just
I love that.
That's all he did. Spoke to Stuart Hagestad. He rocks the long putter. Talked to Cole Hammer about his short game, and I always like to kind of have the guest share a little bit to our listeners about maybe a trademark shot or something unique with their game. So if you can, and if you're willing to do so, can you share with our listeners both the mental and physical process of how to hit the perfect shank?
Perfect shank. I had a feeling that was coming.
Did I dress that up okay enough for you?
No, that was perfect. I love that. I love the way you said that. You know what? That's kind of a tough one. I mean, that's one of my favorite shots to hit. Obviously, I've slowed it down a little bit just because of my wrist and injury. So I don't want to, do something stupid and somehow hurt it again. But I mean, I freshman and sophomore year, my shank was, it was dead out of the center of the hosel every single time.
All right. So it's not just that, because I'm not trying to like put the hex on you, but you did this on purpose at times, right?
Yes. That is correct. I did this on purpose pretty much every time. I actually can't. I mean, I hit a shank recently in a tournament, but I mean, I feel like I rarely hit shanks. I'm more of a guy who hits it off the toe a little bit. But besides the point, I mean, one story that I always like to tell people is that it was Alistair McKenzie my freshman year. Might have been I think it was my second tournament as a freshman, so like still really young. And for some reason, it was the day before the 36-hole day, and our spot on the range was all the way on the left side. And the range is the guys are pretty much lined up straight. There's no curvature or anything. For some reason, I just decided to hit a shank. John Rahm was right next to me. He was just a stall over, hitting balls, grinding before the round. And I got up there and hit the best shank of my life. It was the best shank of my life. I wasn't expecting it to go this far. It almost went 90 degrees right. And it went literally in front of everybody hitting balls on the range. And I tried my hardest not to look over. I tried to make it look like holy, like what did I just do? I just shanked it and make it look like it was on purpose or make it look like it was an accident. But my teammates were telling me that like literally 4, 5, 6 guys were looking over like, what the heck is this kid doing? Like, this guy sucks. And obviously John Rahm was right next to me and he definitely saw that. So I'm hoping to sometime converse with him about that, see if he remembers. Probably not, but that's something that I always enjoy telling people.
And your coach, Michael Beard, who I know you're very close with, who's been just very instrumental. Your relationship with him is in your freshman year compared to now. I mean, you must be giving him a lot less gray hairs now than you did as a freshman.
I'd like to think so. It's funny, actually. When I came in as a freshman, Coach had no gray hairs, and I think 2.5 years later, he's like pretty much full gray. So I'll take responsibility for that. But our relationship with that kind of stuff has always been awesome. He loves it. It's just a way to kind of keep loose and keep the tension out of situations that are actually pretty high stakes. So
I'm gonna let you go, but you're gonna have a great weekend, I'm assuming, in Malibu. What are you doing this weekend that's just gonna make all the listeners that are like up in like North Dakota and South Carolina just jealous? So let's hear what your weekend looks like.
So actually, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to the beach, and I'm probably just going to kick back. My family's actually coming over tomorrow. We're going to go play one of our courses, North Ranch, and the weather's good. Well, other than the fire, that's kind of close by.
That's not good.
And then Sunday, who knows? Probably maybe go back to the beach again.
Brutal.
So yeah,
I mean, it just sounds
brutal.
Sounds rough.
I'm dreading it.
Well, Sahith, thank you so much for joining me here at the back of the range. This was a lot of fun. I think a lot of the listeners are going to be kind of keeping an eye on what you guys do for the rest of the year leading into nationals, and then see what happens over the summer. I really like the fact that your approach is you love qualifiers and you love playing in front of a crowd. So hopefully people are going to be seeing a lot more of you. And we'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good. For sure, my man. Thanks a lot for having me. I enjoyed this.
And there you have it. Special thanks to Sahith Theegala for joining us this week. Best of luck to him and the rest of the Waves as they make a run towards the national championship. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we'll see you next week for another episode here at the back of the range.